fans are gone and slow. Alright. Probably finish at 20, most I will.
Oh, you got it, right?
Ah, 200%. Live?
Yes, sir.
Kan. And Madiam Wapanya Jerusalem, stand and face Jerusalem. Hamashiach Spalam, the Lord's Prayer, Matthew 6, verse 9. Gara,
Con.
Abanaw, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Haya, Shamka, Yahweh, Malakwaka, Taba'a, Ratazaka, Haya, Aisha, Ba'arataza, Ka, Bashamayim, Nathanaw, Lakam, Kal, Yawam, Wasalaknaw, Kabawaknaw, Kasalaknaw, Kabawaknaw, Wala'a, Tabaya'anaw, Banasayawan, Abal, Hawashaynaw, Man, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwa, Waha'ala, Wahat Tapa'ara, Da'iwalam, Ba'asham, Hamashiach, Yahawashai, the water, Aman.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 6 and verse 9. After this manner, therefore, pray ye, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us of our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen. For if ye forgive men their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if ye forgive not men their trespasses, neither will your Father forgive your trespasses. By Hashem HaMashiach Yahawashai, the water tum yad, man.
Shabiam, be seated. Shabbat Shalom, Yasharala.
Shalom.
All praises to the Most High by Hashem Yahawashai, the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That the Most High again for another Shabbat day when Israel can come together in holy convocation as per the covenant that he made with our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that Israel should keep such covenant throughout our generations, regardless of our location. We are the land of Zion, located down here in South Florida, Broward, Fort Lauderdale, 2937 West Broward Boulevard. I am Elder Bishop Lapalala, and to my left is
Officer Aliyah.
Khan. We're going to continue where we left off from last Shabbat, Friday. 1 Samuel, the book of 1 Samuel, this time in chapter 16, for the next hour and a half or so. Let's start with Colossians 3, verse 17.
This is the book of Colossians, chapter 3 and verse 17. And whatsoever ye do in word or deed, do all in the name of Mashiach Yahushua, giving thanks to
The water.
Salakia, let me start over. Colossians chapter 3 and verse 17. And whatsoever ye do in word or deed, do all in the name of the one, Mashiach Yahushua, giving thanks to God and the Father by him.
Right, whatever you do in word or deed, meaning what? Whatever you say, whatever words come out of your mouth, or action that you partake, make sure they're in consistency with the scriptures. Understand? Make sure you're not doing everything according to your own thoughts. Okay? So the Most High is saying right there through Paul. Okay, let's go to 1 Samuel chapter 16.
First Samuel chapter 16. And the Most High said unto Samuel, how long wilt thou mourn for Saul, seeing I have rejected him from reigning over Israel?
Right, so this is a continuation of where we left off last Friday, because the Most High told Samuel that he had rejected Saul from being king over Israel, and that Saul's lineage was not going to continue in the kingship of Israel, because Saul was disobedient to the Most High's commandments. The Most High gave Samuel order to give to Saul to follow, and Saul didn't follow the order that the Most High gave him to follow. He just basically lived according to what? Effect. And the Most High rejected him for that. And so Samuel told Saul, but Saul was, repentant, not so much to the Most High, but to Samuel, because recognized that Samuel was a man of the Most High. And Samuel was very sympathetic with Saul, because that's a repentant spirit, a merciful spirit that was on Samuel. But the Most High, when he made up his mind, hey, that's it. So read again, verse 16, chapter 16, verse 1.
1 Samuel chapter 16. And the Lord said to Samuel, how long wilt thou mourn for Saul, seeing I have rejected him from reigning over Israel? Fill thy horn with oil and go. I will send thee to Jesse the Bethlehemite, for I have provided me a king among his sons.
Right, so the Most High, how long are you going to be mourning over Saul? Do you not see that I rejected Saul? Fill your oil, fill your horn with oil. That's for the anointing of the new king. It's the purpose of filling the horn with oil. To anoint the person who the Most High had chosen to be the new king. Which we see that Moses says, I'm going to send him to Jesse the Bethlehemite, for I have provided me a king among his sons. So the Most High was telling Saul that here, I have chosen one of Jesse's sons to be king over Israel. So get your horn ready with oil, because you're going to be anointing this new king. Read on.
And Samuel said, how can I go? If Saul hear it, he will kill me. And the Most High said, take an heifer with thee, and say, I am come to sacrifice to the Most High. And call Jesse to the sacrifice, and I will shew thee what thou shalt do. And thou shalt anoint unto me him whom I have named unto thee.
Right, but Samuel was concerned. How can I do this? How can I go about anointing a new king over Israel when we have Saul, who's the present king? If Saul hears this, he's going to kill me. So the Most High said, okay, I'm going to tell you how to do this. Just take a heifer. What's a heifer? What's a heifer? Well, a female, yeah, a cow, a female cow, You know how black people have this derogatory term that they use to refer to a so-called black woman, a heifer, you know what I'm saying? Well, we know that a heifer was, a cow that the Most High usually choose as a sacrifice to perform whatever part of the service. Read on.
Verse 4. And Samuel did that which the Most High spake, and came to Bethlehem. And the elders of the town trembled at his coming, and said, comest thou peacefully?
Right. Samuel is a very powerful man, a very reputable man, a man of very much credibility. So no matter whatever Samuel says, it's coming from the Most High. And they know historically it always goes out, as the Most High says. So when they see someone coming, start trembling. What now? Are you coming peaceably? Are you coming to teach us smooth things? Are you coming to tell us what terrible things are gonna happen to us? So they're always trembling, man. Read on. That's the mindset that they were in. Read on.
And he said, peacefully, I am come to sacrifice unto the Most High. Sanctify yourselves, and come with me to the sacrifice. And he sanctified Jesse and his sons, and called them to the sacrifice.
Right. So the people were trembling, but Samuel assured them that, I'm coming peaceably. There's not going to be anything detrimental that's going to happen to you. Okay, that's so he invited the people, including Jesse and his sons, to come to the sacrifice. Read.
In verse 6, and it came to pass, when they were come, that he looked on Eliab, and said, surely the Lord's anointed is before him. But the Most High said unto Samuel, look not on his countenance, or on the height of his stature, because I have refused him. For the Most High seeth not as man seeth. For man looketh on the outward appearance, but the Most High looketh on the heart.
Right. So no, Samuel wasn't sure which one of Jesse's sons the Most High had chosen to be king. But when he saw Eliab, which was one of Jesse's sons, which was very probably, you could say, physically, attractive man, tall, dark, and handsome, muscular, and all that. Samuel saw, okay, this must be the one, because that's basically the same as stature as Saul. You know what I'm saying? Moses said, this is not the one. The Most High don't think as you think. The Most High doesn't look at the outward appearance of a person. The Most High looks in the heart of a person, and how the heart of the person is consistent with the heart of the Most High. How consistent a person's heart is in as far as keeping the Most High's laws, statutes, and commandments, as opposed to just having a physical attractive stature outwardly, but inwardly, your heart is so far from being righteous. That's not what the Most High is looking for. The Most High says, no, that's not the one. Read on.
Verse 8. Then Jesse called.
Hold on, let me get Isaiah.
Isaiah?
Yeah. You ordered not my heart? You know what else? Got it.
No, I'm not sure.
Hold on, let me get it. Hold on.
What about the Most High look at a heart?
Your heart is not as my heart. Isaiah 55, verse 8.
This is the book of
As a
Isaiah.
matter of fact, start
6.
from 6. 55, verse 6. Isaiah.
Isaiah chapter 55 and verse 6. Seek ye the Most High, while he may be found. Call ye upon him while he is near.
Right. Seek, and in these times, these terrible times we're going through right now, now is the perfect time to seek the Most High. Because the Most High is always nigh to Israel when we're in trouble. Understand? Because he is our refuge. We ain't got other refuge but the Most High. But what? If we don't look out, if we don't search for the Most High and seek him, he's not going to be found. He's there. He's He's saying, see, here I am. But if you're not looking for him, you're not going to find him. If you're looking elsewhere, if you're looking to politics, if you're looking to religion, if you're looking to economics, if you're looking to other sources for your shelter, you're not going to be safe. You're not, you know what I mean? You're not going to be protected. The Most High is our protection. Understand? And right now, it's there as our refuge, but we have to recognize that He is our refuge and seek after Him for that protection. He says, seek ye the Most High while He may be found. Call ye upon Him while He is near. The Most High is near to us right now. But if you're looking beyond Him, if you're looking to another source, as if that's going to be our protection, then the Most High is not going to be there for us. He's not going to be there for us. Read on.
Verse 7. Let the wicked forsake his way.
Let the wicked forsake his way. The things we used to do in the past, we forget that. Because we saw that all the things we relied on, politics, economics, you know what I mean? Religion, they didn't avail us much. Read.
And the unrighteous man his thoughts.
And the unrighteous man his thoughts. What's unrighteous? You're not keeping the Most High's laws, statutes, and commandments. That's what makes you unrighteous. So if you're coming up with your own imagination and your own opinion as to what you should do to get salvation, how you should lead other people, no, you got to come to the scriptures. And the Most High will tell you how you should conduct yourselves for your own personal benefit, for the benefit of your family, and how you should interact with your fellow Israelites, and even how you should interact with the other nations. Read.
And let him return unto the Most High.
Right. Forsake your own thoughts and return to the Most High. You see the opposition right there. Let the unrighteous man forsake his own thoughts. Right? When you forsake your own thoughts, meaning your vain opinion as to how things should be done, or how you should worship, how you should conduct yourselves, and what? Return to the Most High. When you return to the Most High, know you're operating according to the Most High's thoughts. But the Most High designate, I tell you how you should operate. Understand? Because your thoughts are so contrary to what's righteous. Man's thoughts are so against what the Most High says we should do. So that's why we have to, forsake our own thoughts and return to the Most High. Read on.
Return unto the Most High, and He will have mercy upon him, and to our God, for He will abundantly pardon.
What verse is that?
Verse 8. What was that? Verse 7.
I'll finish in 7. Now I'm
Yeah,
on.
okay.
For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways.
Now finish 7 and get into
Salakia. Verse 7. Let the wicked forsake his way, and the unrighteous man his thoughts.
Right.
And let him return unto the Most High, and He will have mercy upon him.
Right. And let him return unto the Most High, and He will have mercy upon him. So when you forsake your own thoughts, I mean your thoughts were wicked. Your thoughts were abominable. Your thoughts were contrary to the Most High's laws, statutes, and commandments. Your thoughts were of iniquity, sinful. And the Most High said He will have mercy upon you. Why? Because the Most High is merciful, and we are His people. We are the ones whose forefather made a covenant with the Most High. Read on.
And to our God, for He will abundantly pardon. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord.
Right, so the Most High letting you know that our thoughts are not His thoughts, neither are our ways His ways. So a lot of people talk about they're opinionated. You know what? They have an opinion and everything. You can have an opinion on worldly matters, as you know what I mean. So who do you think is going to win your election? Who do you think is going to win this game? You know what I'm saying? Who do you think is gonna do this or do that? According to things that are going on in the world, but when it comes to righteousness now, or serving the Most High, you can't have that. You can't go according to like a religion. That's why they got so many religions. What's religion now? It's man-made doctrine. Man-made doctrine according to the different thoughts that different people have. That's confusion right there, because every person is going to have a different thought. And everybody can't be right. You think this way, the other person thinks that way. They both can't be right. So we should just what? Abandon our own vain opinion, our own thoughts, and just listen to what the Most High says. I see the wisdom in His word. Because, He created us to serve Him. We are His creatures. And we were made to serve Him. And He told us what protocol to follow to serve Him. So we can't just we can't go rogue on the Most High. We can't just do our own thing. Our thoughts are not His thoughts. Read it again, verse 8 again.
Verse 8. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord.
Right.
For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts.
Right. So, go back to Samuel now. That's why the Most High is saying, I look at the heart of man and see if how close that their thoughts are to my thoughts. Then they can say, okay, this is a more righteous person. This is someone I can work with. But if their thoughts are so far from the Most High's laws, statutes, and commandments, regardless of their outward appearance, the Most High says, this is not the one I want. Continue on 1 Samuel 16.
Verse 8. Then Jesse called Abinadab and made him pass before Samuel. And he said, neither hath the Lord chosen this. Then Jesse made Shammah to pass by. And he said, neither hath the Most High chosen this. Again, Jesse made 7 of his sons to pass before Samuel. And Samuel said unto Jesse, the Most High hath not chosen these.
Yeah. So look at that. That's what the Most High said, man. 7 of Jesse's sons passed before the Most High, before Samuel, before the Most High by Samuel, and the Most High said, I haven't chosen this. It's not who I want. That's why so many religions have gone through this earth. That's why our people are so reluctant to accept the truth. Because so many religions have gone through. But the Most High said what? The truth will come up in the last. So, because our people were exposed to all different denominations, Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, Rastafarianism. Now when we come to this Hebrew Israelite thing, he said, where you going with that? That's not how I was brought up. I was brought up in the Christian church. I was brought up as a Muslim. My father was Rastafarian. That's who I am. That's what they say. You know what I'm saying? All those things came before the truth came out. So because they learned this from their parents, they grew up in the church. When they read this truth, they reject it. It's hard for them to accept it. You know what I'm saying? Not knowing that what? This is the old path in a way. All we're doing is not, we're not conforming to the world. What are we doing? Conforming to the Most High's laws, statutes, and commandments. We're seeking the old path. Get me Jeremiah 6:16. All that. Because this truth is coming out, regardless of how the heathens, the other nations try to stop it. Because whatever came up before, it's because what? They try to impose that on us. Read on. Jeremiah 6:16.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 6 and verse 16. Thus saith the Most High, stand ye in the ways.
Stand ye in the ways. What's the ways? The Bible. Read on.
And see and ask for the old paths.
And ask for the old path. Now, the Most High is making like a geographical analogy, as if you're standing in the path, in the roadside, to see we cannot go back and find this. We cannot find my grandparents. Where do they live? You know what I'm saying? It's like you're standing in a highway, on a road, like at a crossroads. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Where's the road that led to that village back there, or by such a name? You know what I'm saying? But the old path is talking about what? How our people, our forefathers used to live, and how they connected to the Most High. Old tradition. Right. Read on.
Where is the good way?
Where is the good way? Because in those old traditions was a good way where we were connected with the Most High and had rest and had prosperity and were protected by the Most High. Read on.
And walk therein.
And walk therein. So right now, all this turmoil, this uncertainty, the tribulation that our people are going through, we see it's not looking good for our people. So we got to search for the old path and see the time and era and circumstances where our people were connected with the Most High and what kind of lifestyle they were living. So we got to go back to that spiritually and what? Conform to that way of living. Which is what? Keeping the Most High's laws, statutes, and commandments. And walk therein. Read on.
And ye shall find rest for your souls.
And you should find rest for your soul. Because right now there's no rest for our people, man. Our people's souls are much troubled, stressed. Stress is one of the biggest killers amongst our people, man. Why? Because they see no matter what they do, no matter what they try all kind of religions, they try all kind of situations to see if they can get some kind of a success or prosperity or peace of mind. It's not happening. Why? Because we are alienated from the Most High. We don't know our heritage. We don't know our nationality. We don't know our true history. So we just like lost. We're just floating. So we go back to the old path. Go back to where you originated from, where you came from. What road your people traveled to get where you at. Then you see the connection between you and the Most High. Understand? And therein you will find your rest. Go back to Samuel. See Samuel? Read on.
Come. Verse 11. And Samuel said unto Jesse, Are here all thy children? And he said, There remaineth yet the youngest, and behold, he keepeth the sheep. And Samuel said unto Jesse, Send and fetch him, for we will not sit down till he come hither. Right.
Now Samuel passed all 7 sons. No, Jesse passed all 7 sons before Samuel. And the Most High said, this is not the one. Samuel said, do you have any more sons? Because Jesse didn't even consider that the other son. He's so puny. He doesn't have the outward appearance that Jesse thought was was a requirement to be of a kingly stature. Nah, most ain't gonna consider him. I wouldn't even insult you by bringing out this to just want to be. I'm just gonna bring my seven, muscular. Everybody, tuned up on, groomed and looking, physically, man. Surely the Most I would choose one of these. Someone said, no. If you got another one though, let's take a look at them and see if this is the one the Most High chooses. Read on.
Verse 12. And he sent and brought him in. Now he was ruddy. Ruddy. Now he was ruddy and withal of a beautiful countenance, and goodly to look at.
To look to.
To look to. And the Most High said, Arise, anoint him, for this is he.
Right, now, let's read this verse again, verse 12. There's a certain word in this chapter, or the verse also, that's kind of confusing. That supposedly is controversial or misunderstood by a lot of people. And he sent and brought him in. Now he was ruddy. What's ruddy mean? Anybody got a dictionary?
Reddish of the hair or complexion. Red, ruddy, ready, strong.
Right. So why did the scripture define his complexion? Why did he describe his complexion as opposed to the other seven brothers?
Because the other seven brothers were more like dark.
Yeah, exactly right.
More in the likeness of
Yeah.
Saul.
Right. They were more of a stature, plus also they were darker shade. But David was ruddy, means like a light skinned. Because Israelite could be remember Jacob and Esau? Right. Esau came out red and hairy, right? Esau came out red and hairy even though they had the same parents. So David was a little bit on the lighter side. That's why he got it doesn't mean he's an Edomite. That you know what I'm saying? He was obviously an Israelite. Jesse was an Israelite. All his sons obviously were Israelites. David was an Israelite, but David's complexion was a little bit on the lighter side. And so it was like you could say like a handsome little man, but he wasn't like a athletic looking person or a muscular like a linebacker, or like a football player, a WWF worldwide, you know what I mean? Worldwide wrestling and all that. It was like we said that those person were Chris Brown looking like. You know what I'm saying? Like a young light skinned brother, handsome light skinned brother, but he was not muscular and athletic or something like that. And with that of a beautiful countenance. So, yeah. I read on. And Moses arise, anoint him, for this is he. Read on.
For this is he.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 13. Then Samuel took the horn of oil and anointed him in the midst of his brethren. And the Spirit of the Most High came upon David from that day forward. So Samuel rose up and went to Ramah.
Right. So Samuel anointed David, and at the very instant that David was anointed, the Spirit of the Most High came upon David, man. He was no longer a shepherd boy. So we're going to see what kind of spirit now came upon David from that very moment. Read on.
Verse 14.
Mm-hmm.
But the Spirit of the Most High departed from Saul, and an evil spirit from the Most High troubled him. And Saul's servant said unto him, Behold, now an evil spirit from the Most High troubleth thee.
Right, so right now David got a spirit of righteousness, a Holy Spirit on him, and Saul's spirit of righteousness departed from him, and the evil came upon Saul from the very moment. So the Most High can once he no longer get me on Revelation 3:15. Revelation 3 verse 15. The Most High can determine what kind of spirit He wants to be in you at any particular point in time. And the spirit that the Most High wants to be in you, and that at that particular point in time, has a lot to do with what role the Most High wants you to play in Israel. Got it?
Con.
Read.
Revelation chapter 3 and verse 15. I know thy works, that thou art neither cold nor hot.
Right. The Most High said He knows your works, that you are neither cold or hot. What does it mean you're neither cold or hot? Basically, you're indecisive. Understand? You're not have a zeal for this work. You don't want to do the most. You don't know. You're undecisive. You don't know what you want to do. You don't know if you want to diligent to seek the Most High's word, or you just want to be out there in the world. What do you want to do? You know the truth. You know you're a Hebrew Israelite. You know you should be at Sabbath service. You know you should be keeping the Most High's laws, statutes, and commandments. So why are you up in the club on Friday nights? Why are you fornicating? Why are you entertaining those religions? Why are you going to the strip club? Why are you still smoking the weed? Why are you doing those things? You know the truth, but still you want to. Why do you keep hanging with those people you know are totally against the Most High's laws, statutes, and commandments? You are neither hot or cold. You say, well, you may have in your mind, well, I don't do all those things that they do, but little by little they're gonna entice you to do those things anyway. Read it again, huh?
I got a precept for it.
No, read it. Yeah, read it.
Revelation chapter 3 and verse 15. I know thy works, that thou art neither cold nor hot. I would thou reck cold or hot.
See, the Most I said, make up your mind what you want to do. You want to serve me, or you want to serve Mammon? You want to be in the truth, or do you want to be in the Word? What are you, a Hebrew Israelites? Or are you a part-time Hebrew Israelites? A one-day Israelite? You're only an Israelite when you come to the Sabbath service, and the rest of the week you're out there like living like Jake. But you know there's no profit in living like Jake. You should be a light unto Jake instead of being seduced by Jake. Jake should see you, see your works. I know that brother is different. It's about something. You know, we're doing those wicked things we used to be do back in the days. And we see the light, we see the example, we see the difference in his way of living, always living. We should follow him, but no. You want to follow them when you should be leading them? And you see your Hebrew Israelites? Read on now.
Verse 16. So then, because thou art lukewarm.
You're lukewarm. You're not hot for the truth. You have made up your mind what you want to do. Serve the Most High or serve Mammon. Read.
And neither cold nor hot.
You're neither cold nor hot.
I will spew thee out of my mouth.
The Most High says what? He's going to spew you out of his mouth. It's like, like you're eating food. You know some food are meant to be eaten when it's cold. Some food are meant to be eaten when it's hot, or depending on your taste. But if you're accustomed to eating a certain food, a certain way, and all of a sudden temperature's not right, you're gonna spit it out. Tasting sip, it doesn't taste right. You know what I mean? Like cooked food meant to be eaten hot, right?
Yes, it is.
But if it's like room temperature, or if it's coming out of the fridge, it's not gonna taste as good. You know what I mean? So you're gonna spew it out. Just like a cold, a glass of lemonade. That's meant to be drinking cold, right?
Con.
But if it's out in room temperature, it's not gonna taste so good. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So certain food are meant to be eaten when it's hot. Certain food meant to be eaten or drunk when it's cold. But if it's the other way around, you're gonna spit it out. It don't taste so good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just like with the Most High. You can't be serving the Most High when you're out there doing certain wickedness. And say, you're a vessel of dishonor to me. You can't be doing those wicked things and expect me to use you to bring Israel to me. That's not going to work. That's a contradiction right there. The Most High is going to do what? Spew you out, spit you out. That's why you've seen over the years, you've seen many cases of brothers who had a zeal for the truth in the early age. But what? That's why the scripture said you have to endure. They didn't try to endure. So what? They got sidelined, kicked out of the truth. That's what the Most High is talking about right here. Now go back to Samuel.
Verse 15. And Saul's servant said unto him, Behold, now an evil spirit from the Most High troubleth thee.
Right?
Let our Lord now command thy servant, which are before thee, to seek out a man who is cunning player of an harp. And it shall come to pass, when the evil spirit from the Most High is upon thee, that he shall play with his hand, and thou shalt be well. And Saul said unto his servants, Provide me now a man that can play well, and bring him to me.
Right. So Saul acknowledged that an evil spirit was upon him. So now they decided to seek out a player of instrument, a harp player, a musician. You know sometimes in listening to certain music, it's a soothing. Certain music brings certain kind of spirit upon you, a soothing spirit. You know what I mean? It's so calm and spiritual, so non-violent, you know what I mean? So yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, as a musician, you know what I'm saying? Certain instruments and certain notes and all that just invoke certain kind of spirit upon you. Putting a calm spirit. Different tone of the music, can evoke different kind of spirit upon you. You know what I mean? So they were looking for this harp player to drive all the evil spirit from Saul. Read.
Verse 18. Then answered one of his servants and said, Behold, I have seen a son of Jesse, the Bethlehemite, that is cunning in playing, and a mighty valiant man, and a man of war, and a prudent in matters, and a comely person, and the Most High is with him.
No, see that? No. This is going to be very interesting, because the spirit of righteousness just left Saul. And wickedness came upon Saul. And the spirit of righteousness just came upon Jesse's son. They didn't mention his name yet, but we know who he is from reading the scriptures. Understand? So, I've seen the son of Jesse, the Bethlehemite, that is cunning in playing, and of a mighty, valiant man, and a man of war, and prudent in matters, and a comely person. And let's see who that is.
Verse 19. Wherefore Saul sent messengers unto Jesse and said, Send me David thy son, which is with the sheep. And Jesse took a donkey laden with bread, and a bottle of wine, and a kid, and sent them by David his son unto Saul. And David came to Saul, and stood before him, and he loved him greatly, and he became his armor bearer. And Saul sent to Jesse, saying, Let David, I pray thee, stand before me, for he hath found favor in my sight.
Right. So now, so this person that Saul had heard about was actually David. Understand? And Saul sent for David, And Jesse said, hey, Saul was still king. It's interesting that Saul was still king, and David just got anointed in the presence of his father, Jesse, to be king. Understand? And the present king sent for the king to be, not know that he was anointed, but the father knew what, and the father sent him anyway. All right, at the water. And the father sent him anyway, and you know, very interesting, because David knew that he was going to be king of Israel, and the present king sent for him, and he went humble. That requires some kind of you know what I'm saying, kind of spirit, or a strong spirit, knowing that, hey, you're in the presence of the person that you're going to be succeeding. But of course, you have to hold your peace. That's what David was doing. You know, because Saul was very fond of David. Of how David presented himself, of how he played the instrument, and the effect the music was having and Saul. Read on.
Verse 23. And it came to pass, when the evil spirit from the Most High was upon Saul, that David took in heart.
And he became his armor bearer. He became his armor bearer. You know what armor bearer mean? What does it mean? Carry weapons, right. See, he wasn't just a musician for Saul. He was his armor bearer also. So he was a warrior spirit. He had a warrior spirit upon him also. Read on.
Verse 23. And it came to pass, when the evil spirit from the Most High was upon Saul, that David took in heart and played with his hand. So Saul was refreshed and was well, and the evil spirit departed from him. Chapter 17. Now the Philistines gathered together their armies to battle, and were gathered together at Shokah, which belonged to Judah. And
this way that is. It shows Judah when there is a Shokah. There is a Shokah? No, it doesn't show Shokah. Okay. Which belonged to Judah. It's okay, it's all right. So that's where the Philistines are gathered to fight against Israel, in a city that belonged to Judah, Shokah. Shokah. Read on.
Which belonged to Judah, and pitched between Shukah and Azekah. And Phineas
Damin.
Verse 2. And Saul and the men of Israel were gathered together and pitched by the valley of Elah, and set the battle in array against the Philistines. And the Philistines stood on a mountain on the other side, and Israel stood on the mountain on the other side. And there was a valley between them. Mm-hmm. Verse 4. And there went out a champion.
So all I said, let's see, you could see it with this. No. Oh, yeah, so okay. Right, there it is. It is another one, right. Philistines. The Philistines are basically to the west of Judah. The Sukkot right there. Right. Okay. Alright, fine. Alright. Yeah. Before that, yeah. That one. For now. You can always go back to that if we need to. Alright, go on, read on.
Verse 4. And there went out a champion out.
Read 3 again.
Read 3.
I will go on, read 4. Yeah, go.
And there went out a champion out of the camp of the Philistines named Goliath of Gath.
The light of God, where's God?
God is right below. Yeah.
Right, okay. Go on.
Named Goliath of Gath, whose height was 6 cubits and a span. And he had an helmet of brass upon his head. And he
Hold
was.
on, okay. The name, went of the champion of the camp of Goliath, of the Philistines named Goliath of Gath, whose height was 6 cubits and a span. I guess we came to understand that cubit is like what? 18 inches, like a foot and a half, something like that. And the span. Huh?
18, you said a cubit and a half, right?
A cubit, a foot and a half, basically. Right. So it was at 18, whose height was 6 cubits and a span. A foot and a half, that's
Times 6.
6 cubits, 6 feet, about 9 foot, about 9 foot. Yeah. 6 foot, 6 cubits is a foot and a half, so 6, yeah. But 9, yeah. So it wasn't like Moshe would say, it was like 200 foot high. 200, it's 9 feet. That's all tall a giant was. At his back in that time. Read on.
Verse 5. And he had a helmet of brass upon his head, and he was armed with a coat of mail, and the height and the weight of the coat was 5,000 shekels of brass. And he had greaves of brass upon his legs, and a target of brass between his shoulders. And the staff of his spear was like an weaver beam, and his spearhead weighed 600 shekels of iron, and one bearing a shield went before him.
That's what it's, okay, that's what it's showing, right. Goliath was 9 foot 6 inches, basically. Okay. Plus he was wearing he was dressed in the armor, but very heavy armor. Hard to pierce.
Like a tank.
Yeah, it's hard to pierce his garment. You can throw the spears at him, shoot bow and arrows at him, but it wouldn't penetrate the armor that he was wearing. Helmet, just from his toe all the way up to his neck. Read.
Verse 8. And he stood and cried unto them, the armies of Israel, and said unto them, Why are ye come out to set your battle in array? Am not I a Philistine? And ye servants to Saul, choose you a man for you, and let him come down to me. If he be able to fight with me and to kill me, then will we be your servants. But if I prevail against him and kill him, then shall ye be our servants and serve us.
See, they weren't trying to. This guy wasn't running the king. Can we all get along? This guy was trying to get along. They weren't. I'm saying, it's either we rule you or you rule us. That's the way it was. They didn't want to peaceably coexist. Not these Philistines. You know what I'm saying? So find someone who can a worthy opponent, someone someone on my level who can go toe to toe with me, who can battle me. If he defeats me, hey, then we'll serve you. If I defeat him, then you're going to be our servants. That's what Saul. That's what Goliath was saying to the Israelites. Read on.
Verse 10. And the Philistines said, I defy the armies of Israel this day. Give me a man that we may fight together. When Saul and all Israel heard those words of the Philistine, they were dismayed and greatly afraid. Now David was the son of Ephraimite of Bethlehem, Judah, whose name was Jesse, and he had 8 sons. And the man went among men for an old man in the days of Saul. Verse 13. And the 3 eldest sons of Jesse went and followed Saul to the battle. And the names of the 3 sons that went to battle were Eliab, the firstborn, and the next unto him Abinadab, and the third Shammah. Verse 14. And David was the youngest, and the 3 eldest followed Saul.
Right. So Jesse had 8 sons, and 3 of those sons, the 3 eldest sons, were in Saul's army. So they were, men who would constantly go to battle with Saul in the fight against the Philistines and other nations. Read on.
Verse 15. But David went and returned from Saul to feed his father's sheep at Bethlehem. And the Philistine drew near morning and evening, and presented himself 40 days. Verse 17.
40 days
He stood out there.
he stood and taunting the Israelites, making that proclaim, send me somebody worthy to fight me. You cowards. Is there anyone in Israel worthy to be my opponent? I tell you this day, if they come and fight me, and I defeat them, you're going to be my servants. But if, on the other hand, which is very unlikely, he defeats me, then, hey, we're going to be your servant. And for 40 days, Goliath did that to Israel. Israel was stressed out during that 40-day period, man. Stressed out. Because they saw this guy, the sight of this guy, and they said that they got to be more like him. They saw this guy who was much taller than the tallest Israelites. And nobody was able to meet this guy's, to match his threats. And they saw the way he was dressed. I said, if the guy ever comes to Israel, we're done. Read on.
Verse 17. And Jesse said unto David his son, take now for thy brethren an ephah of this parched corn, and these 10 loaves, and run to the camp to thy brethren, and carry these 10 cheeses unto the captain of their thousand, and look how thy brethren fare, and take their pledge. Now Saul.
No. Jesse gave Now at this point, David was like an errand boy. Hey, I got some food right there. Take this to your brethren, your big brothers on the front line. Make sure they're all right. And let me know what they're doing. And okay, you something for the captain of the 1,000. All right. Let me know what everybody's doing and come. Don't stay too long. That's not your zone right there.
Yeah.
It is a shepherd boy. Come back here. Get the brothers let them do the fighting. That's what Jesse was telling David. Okay, read on.
Verse 19. Now Saul and they and all the men of Israel were in the valley of Elah, fighting with the Philistines. And David rose up early in the morning and left the sheep with a keeper, and took and went, and Jesse had commanded him. And he came to the trench as the host was going forth to the fight, and shouted for the battle. For Israel and the Philistines had put the battle in array, army against army.
Right, so they were lined up because remember there was a valley between those two, because we had Philistines, between Succoth and Gath. There's a valley right there along that right. So the Israelites were on this side, lined up. The Philistines were on the side, lined up. They were shouting at each other, making threatening each other. That's what was going on right there. That trash talking, trying to intimidate each other. Read on.
And David left his carriage in the hand of the keeper of the carriage, and ran into the army, and came and saluted his brethren. And as he talked,
What verse is that?
I'm on 22.
Okay, read on. Read it again. 22.
Verse 22. And David left his carriage in the hand of the keeper of the carriage, and ran into the army, and came and saluted his brethren.
What you doing there, David? They were looking at what he left his carriage. What? And went to salute his brethren, or maybe his brothers. I read on.
And as he talked with them, behold, there came up a champion of the Philistine of God, Goliath by name, out of the armies of the Philistines, and spake according to the same words, and David heard them.
That's how near he was. Or maybe that's how loud he talked, that David heard him. Read on.
And all the men of Israel, when they saw the man, fled from him, and were sore afraid.
Right, when they saw the size of that man, they were afraid of him, because they knew no one could take him on one-on-one. It's like Moxabo going up against Shaq. You know, that's way back in the days. Moxabo was a very short guy. With that going maybe like a feet 5'5" or something like that, and Shaq was like 7'2", something like that. Yeah. Read on.
Verse 25. And the men of Israel said, have ye seen this man that is come up? Surely to defy Israel is he come up. And it shall be that the man who killeth him, the king will enrich him with great riches, and will give him his daughter, and make his father's house free in Israel. And David spake to the men that stood by him, saying, what shall be done to the man that killeth this Philistine, and taketh away the reproach from Israel? For who is this uncircumcised Philistine, that he should defy the armies of the living God?
Right. So the men were talking about of Saul that promised all his riches to anyone who would defeat or kill Goliath, and how David would give him his daughter, and give riches to his household, his father, and all that. And David was talking to the man and said, what shall be done to the man that killeth this Philistine, and taketh away the reproach from Israel? For who is this uncircumcised Philistine? You know, when if they were talking, they were looking at David like, who are you?
Yeah.
He was like a little midget guy, you know what I'm saying, among warriors, talking about who's this uncircumcised Philistine. Do you see that man? Do you see how big that man is? You want to go fight him? That's why the prophet said to David. Read on.
Verse 27. And the people answered him after this manner, saying, so shall it be done to the man that killeth him. And Eliab, his eldest brother, heard when he spake unto him. And Eliab's anger was kindled against David.
Yeah, because Eliab was a big brother, and he was like, kid, what are you doing here? Go back to the damn farm.
Go home.
Go back to the farm and go tend to the sheep. This isn't a place for you. Somebody, does Dad know you're here? When I get ready here, I gotta talk to Daddy about you, man. You're on the line. That's why Eliab, the big brother, was saying to David. He was mad as hell at David. Why are you here? Read on.
And Eliab's anger was kindled against David, and he said, why comest thou down hither? And with whom hast thou left those few sheep in the wilderness? I know thy pride, and the naughtiness of thine heart, for thou art come down, that thou mightest see the battle.
Yeah, you just want to see what's going on. You're just curious. All these want to know what's going on, man. This isn't a place for you. So who's taking the sheep right now? You're the shepherd. You're supposed to be tending to the sheep. Oh, man. I read on.
And David said, what have I now done? Is there not a cause? And he turned from him toward another, and spake after the same manner. And the people answered him again after the former manner. And when the words were heard which David spake, they rehearsed them before Saul, and he sent for him. And David said to Saul, let no man's heart fail because of him. Thy servant will go and fight with this Philistine.
So David was like a nuisance now, man. So they have to be complaining to Saul about this guy. But it wasn't like, it's not like he was making a mockery. He just couldn't believe on he was there to begin with. But the look he had in his face, it's like they were confused, and he sounded like a warrior, or they were looking at him and saying,
Yeah.
not who he is, who he was. You're not his little brother. You ain't no warrior. Why are you here? So I said, you know what? Don't let it bother you, man. Don't be dismayed because of him. I know he's a distraction, dog. Read on.
Verse 33. And Saul said to David, thou art not able to go against this Philistine to fight with him, for thou art but a youth, and he a man of war from his youth.
Right. So you're a little boy. You can't fight. You can't fight Goliath. You're a kid. And he's been a man. He's been a warrior since he was your age. Read on.
And David said unto Saul, thy servant kept his father's sheep, and there came a lion and a bear, and took a lamb out of the flock. And I went out after him, and smote him, and delivered it out of his mouth. And when he arose against me, I caught him by his beard, and smote him, and slew him.
Right. So David said, yeah. So now David was saying, yeah, that's what you think. I mean, a little boy, but trust me, I've done some very valiant things.
I killed lions and bears.
A lion attacked my sheep one day, and I grabbed that lion by his beard and smote him.
God.
And keep on. Saul was like, yeah, right. Who you kidding? Yeah, right, David. You're right. Yeah, David. Stick to that story, David. If you say it enough, if you say it often enough, you might even believe it. I read on.
Verse 36. Thy servant slew both the lion and the bear.
You smote a bear too? Wow, David. Read. Come on, David. Read.
And this uncircumcised Philistine shall be as one of them, seeing he has defied the armies of the living God. David said, moreover, the Most High that delivered me out of the paw of the lion and out of the paw of the bear, he will deliver me out of the hand of this Philistine. And Saul said unto David, go, and the Lord, the Most High, be with thee.
So I guess David was very convincing. Plus, he acknowledged that it was the Most High who delivered them from the bear and the lion. And he said, the Most High will also deliver me from this Philistine. So I said, you know what? If you feel that badly about it, if you feel that strongly about it, go ahead. I mean, the Most High be with you. Because he saw the determination, David. Read on.
Verse 38. And Saul armed David with his armor, and he put an helmet of brass upon his head. Also he armed him with an coat of mail. And David girded his sword upon his armor, and he essayed to go, for he had not proved it. And David said unto Saul, I cannot go with these, for I have not proved them. And David put them off from him.
Right, so David put in the armor, but the armor was too heavy for David. Talking about I haven't proved it. Yeah, prove what? You couldn't move David. The armor was too heavy for David to even move it.
God.
All right. So it took them off. Read on.
And he took his staff in his hand and chose him 5 Verse 40. And he took his staff in his hand and chose him 5 smooth stones out of the brook and put them in a shepherd's bag, which he had, even in a scrip. And his sling was in his hand. And he drew near to the Philistine. And the Philistine came on to drew near unto David. And the man that bare the shield went before him. And when the Philistine looked about and saw David, he dismayed him,
Disdain.
disdained him, for he was but a youth, a ruddy,
Mm-hmm.
a ruddy, and of a fair countenance. And the
Right. He didn't look like a hardened warrior. That's the outward appearance of it was a youngin, right? It was a youngin. He didn't look like a hardened warrior. He looked like a little pretty boy who hadn't seen much hard life. What you got about fighting? You know I am. I've been a warrior since I was your age. And look at you trying to fight against me. Right?
Verse 42. And when the Philistine looked about and saw David, he disdained him, for he was but a youth, a ruddy, and of a fair countenance. And the Philistine said unto David, Am I a dog, that thou comest to me with staves?
Staves, right.
And the Philistine cursed David by his gods.
Right, so David was Goliath was like, I'm a dog, but he came come to me with staves. They started cursing on David in the Philistine language. And I get calling on curses upon David from his God, the Philistine God. Read on.
And the Philistine said to David, Come to me, and I will give thy flesh unto the fowls of the air, and to the beasts of the field. Then said Samuel to the Philistine.
No, David.
Then said David to the Philistine, Thou comest to me with a sword, and with a spear, and with a shield, but I come to thee in the name of the Most High of hosts, the power of the armies of Israel, whom thou hast defied.
Right, so David said, You come to me with a worldly weapons, a spear, a sword, and a shield. But I come to you with the word of the Most High. Understand? Which is more powerful than any physical weapon that you can have. Read.
46. This day will the Lord deliver thee into my hand, and I will smite thee, and take thy head from thee, and I will give the carcass of the host of the Philistines this day unto the fowls of the air, and to the wild beasts of the earth, that all of the earth may know that there is a God in Israel. And all this assembly shall know that the Lord saveth not with sword and spear, for the battle is the Lord's, and he will give you into our hands.
See, because David was aware of Israel's history. Understand? Just like we need to be aware of Israel's history. David was that confident because he knew of previous cases of how the Most High delivered Israel from the hands of the from the enemies. When the enemies were more powerful, more organized, more valiant, more violent. You know what I'm saying? More numerous than we were. But the Most High delivered them into our hands anyway. So David was invoking all that, all the spirit, you know what I'm saying? Was reminiscent of all that. So that's why he was so confident and so bold. Because he knew that the Most High, once you believe in the Most High, he can deliver you from those situations where you were overwhelmed by the enemies. That's where David was coming from. He was looking at things from a spiritual perspective, and I know the connection that Israel has with the Most High, and how the Most High can deliver you. I understand when it seems like when it looks as if you're an underdog in the situation. Read.
Verse 48. And it came to pass, when the Philistines arose and came and drew nigh to meet David, that David hasted and ran toward the army to meet the Philistines. And David put his hand in his bag and and took thence a stone, and slang it, and smote the Philistine in his forehead. And the stone sunk into his forehead, and he fell upon his face to the earth.
Right, so when the armies were coming together, David ran in front of the Israelites and then pulled out the stone out of a bag, put in the sling, swung it around, let it loose, went straight in the forehead of a Goliath. Goliath fell to the ground. Read.
Verse 50. So David prevailed over the Philistine with a sling and with a stone, and smote the Philistine and slew him. But there was no sword in the hand of David. Therefore David ran and stood upon the Philistine, and took his sword, and drew it out of his sheath thereof, and slew him, and cut off his head therewith. And when the Philistines saw their champion was dead, they fled.
Right, so you know, you could have slew that's Esau, you know what I'm saying? Well, I'll tell you, man, Esau. Always trying to put themselves in. So David slew Goliath. He didn't have all he had was a sling and a stone. He didn't even have a sword. But he ran upon Goliath, took Goliath's own sword and cut off his head. Right? And then the Philistines seen that their main warrior just got killed. The heart melted. They felt discomforted, so they ran. Right?
And when the men of Israel and of Judah arose and shouted and pursued the Philistines until they come to the valley and to the gates of Ekron, and the wounded of the Philistines fell down by the way of Sha'araim, even unto Gath, and unto Ekron.
Let me see that on our map again. Yeah. And the Gath and Ekron. Ekron. So okay. So Ekron was right. It's further into Philistine territory north. From Gath to Ekron, further north. Okay.
They chasing that far.
Right. And the wounded of the Philistines fell down by the way to Sha'araim, even unto Gath and unto Ekron. Read.
Verse 53. And the children of Israel returned from chasing after the Philistines, and they spoiled their tents. And David took the head of the Philistine and brought it to Jerusalem, but he put his armor in his tent. And when Saul saw David go forth against the Philistine, and he said unto Abner, the captain of the host, Abner, whose son is this youth? And Abner
Wait a minute. And when Saul saw David go forth against the Philistine, he said unto Abner, the captain of the host, Abner, whose son is this youth? But you start forgetting that David is this David? Didn't you send for David sent to Jesse for David? And David was playing the harp to drive out those demonic spirit. Maybe he forgot. Or maybe he didn't recognize that this was actually David doing this.
Yeah.
Read on.
And Abner said, As thy soul liveth, O king, I cannot tell. And the king said, Inquire thou whose son is stripling is.
Mm-hmm.
And as David returned from the slaughter of the Philistine, Abner took him and brought him before Saul with the head of the Philistine in his hand. And Saul said to him, Whose son art thou, thou young man? And David answered, I am the son of the servant Jesse of Bethlehemite.
Right, so maybe David forgot. Okay, let's do 18. See, was a camp situation like you can hit the road? Okay. All right, for that, I'm gonna do one more chapter then finish off. Chapter 18.
Chapter 18. And it came to pass, when he had made an end of speaking unto Saul, and that Saul, the soul of Jonathan, was knit with the soul of David, and Jonathan loved him as his own soul.
Right. So now, so David is now close to the king, and the king had a son who's now basically the same age group as Saul. His name was Jonathan, and they became very close. They became good friends. Read on.
Verse 2, and Saul took him that day, and would not let him go no more home to his father's house.
Right. So now, yeah. So David was now basically residing in Saul's palace. Because he got along very well with his son Jonathan. Plus, for that deed that David has performed, killing Goliath and ridding them of the pest, the harassment of the Philistines.
So come eat at my table.
Right. So yeah. With a very good friend in the family right now. Finding much favor in Saul's side. Read.
Verse 2, and Saul took him that day, and would not let him go no more home to his father's house. Then Jonathan and David made a covenant, because he loved him as his own soul. And Jonathan stripped himself of the robe that was upon him, and gave it to David, and his garments, even to his sword, and to his bow, and to his girdle. And David went out whithersoever Saul sent him, and behaved himself wisely. And Saul set him over the men of war, and he was acceptable in the sight of all the people, and also in the sight of Saul's servant.
Right. So they get along so very well. They made a covenant, a brotherhood. You know what I'm saying? I do anything for you, man. I got your back. You know what I'm saying? They were sharing garments and all that. Like two athletes who respect each other in the court. You know what I mean? After a good game, to show respect of the valiancy. Of the other athlete, of the opposing athlete. Sometimes they share jersey and stuff like that. Yeah. But this was more than that. They were very solid friendship, brotherhood right there. Read on. Of course, Saul was now like, David was now like, not more than an armor bearer. He was like, like a general, a young general leading the army. You know what I'm saying? Leading Saul's army right now. Read on.
Verse 6, and it came to pass, as they came when David was returned from the slaughter of the Philistine, that the woman came out of all the cities of Israel.
Right, so they were still fighting the Philistines. Of course, the Philistines got weak now, because the main warrior Goliath got slain by David. So now David was coming back from an incursion against the Philistines, and the women came out of all cities of Israel and said what? Read on.
That the women came out of all the cities of Israel, singing and dancing to meet King Saul, with tabrets, with joy, and with instruments of music. And the women answered one another as they played, and said, Saul hath slain his thousands, and David his 10,000s.
Wow, see that now? It's a problem now. The women now, you know what I mean? The women are looking for a valiant man. Mm-hmm. Yeah, strong man. You know what they're saying? They love a man in a man in uniform. you know what I'm saying? I love a man in a uniform. You would have to say that. So looking for a warrior, stand-up man, a protector. So they were saying now they were giving much props to David. They said, well, Saul. And the woman answered one another as they played, and said, Saul hath slain his thousands, and David his 10,000. So now they were giving much more props to David, more than they were giving to Saul, who was a king. Read on.
And Saul was very wroth.
Saul was jealous of that. Yeah, what? I'm the king. But yeah, he's saying 10,000s. I want to show 1,000. What are you trying to say? He's bigger than me? More important than me? More valiant a warrior than me? Saul was mad as hell at this. Read.
And Saul was very wroth, and the saying displeased him. And he said, They have ascribed unto David 10,000s, and to me they have ascribed but thousands. And what can he have more but the kingdom?
Right in the source. What is more valuable than that but the kingdom? So what are you gonna do next? You wanna give him the kingdom too? Read on.
And Saul eyed David from that day forth. And it came to pass on the morrow that the evil spirit from God came upon Saul, and he prophesied in the midst of the house. And David played with his hand, as at other times. And there was a javelin in Saul's hand. And Saul cast the javelin, for he said, I will smite David even to the wall with it. And David avoided out of his presence twice.
Right, so no, Saul's countenance totally changed against David. At one point, David was like his own son. But now because of jealousy and because the women ascribe more respect unto David and unto Saul, who was a king. You know what I mean? David was Saul was now very jealous of David, to the point that he was contemplating killing him. That David had to be very, very mindful of how he was around Saul. Read on.
And Saul was afraid of David, because the Most High was with him, and was departed from Saul. Therefore Saul removed him from him, and made him a captain over 8,000. And he went out and came in before the people.
Also, so Saul now was, very jealous of David. He knew that the Most High was with David, and very soon the Most High would probably put David over him. So Saul removed David from his presence. He still kept him as a captain for 1,000, but he wasn't close to Saul as he once was, as part of it in a circle, as you say, his royal army. Read on.
Verse 14. And David behaved himself wisely in all his ways, and the Most High was with him. Wherefore, when Saul saw that he behaved himself very wisely, he was afraid of him.
Right. So Saul saw the wisdom in David. So he knew that the Most High is with this guy. He's very cunning. He's very aware of my intention. He's very aware of how I feel about him. So he's be very careful. And that irritated Saul even more. And I know that they said this guy, this guy ain't careless. He's very much very intuitive, very cunning, very crafty, very wise. Someone who the Most High is with. After this is like a man of the Most High to be very, very mindful of him. Read on.
But all Israel and Judah loved David, because he went out and came in before them. And Saul said to David, Behold, my elder daughter Merab, her will I give thee to wife. Only be thou valiant for me, and fight the Most High's battles. For Saul said, Let not my hand be upon him, but let the hand of the Philistines be upon him.
See that? So they would be crafty. He wanted to kill Saul, and he wanted to kill David. Saul wanted to kill David. He promised him his daughter in exchange to continue being a warrior and fighting his army. But he wanted to put David in a position where the battle got so hot that the Philistines would probably kill him. So I'm not going to kill him, but I'm going to put him in a situation where possibly the Philistine will kill him. Yeah, and that would be very pleasing to me. Read on.
And David said unto Saul, Who am I And what is my life, or my father's family in Israel, that I should be a son-in-law to the king? But it came to pass at the time when Merab, Saul's daughter, should have been given to David, that she was given unto Adriel, the Mahothalite, to wife. And Michal, Saul's daughter, loved David. But they told Saul, and the king, and the thing pleased him.
Right. So Saul didn't keep his word. He promised his eldest daughter Merab, but when it was time for Merab to be given to David, she was actually be given to another man. But Saul had another daughter, Michal, who loved David, and David, the feeling was mutual, and that also pleased Saul. Read on.
And Saul said, I will give him her, that she may be a snare to him, and that the hand of the Philistines may be against him. Wherefore Saul said to David, Thou shalt this day be my son-in-law in the one of the twain.
Right, so you're going to be my son-in-law in one of the twain. You didn't get married, but I have another daughter, Michal, so you can be her husband. Read on.
And Saul commanded his servants, saying, Commune with David secretly, and say, Behold, the king hath delight in thee, and all his servants love thee. Now therefore be the king's son-in-law. And Saul's servants spake those words in the ears of David.
This is the key. That old saying, keep your friends close, but the enemies even closer. So that's what Saul was doing with David now. Two. One of the twain. Yeah, so one of the two daughters. So David was going to be Saul's son-in-law, by virtue of one of the daughters. Merab, the eldest one, or Michal, the other one. But because Saul didn't keep his word with Merab, the eldest daughter, because he gave her to another man instead of David. But he said, but David's other daughter, Michal, loved to David. So it's okay. All right, so I give him Michal. But with his own he wasn't doing that to really keep his word with David, but he was doing that because he saw that the Messiah was with David, and he was trying to kill David. Because he knew that the Messiah, by now he knew that the Messiah anointed David to be king. Because remember Samuel already told Saul that the Messiah had rejected you from being king. Okay, and your sons after you will not be king. So by now the word must have reached Saul. Understand? That David was indeed the successor or the king or the next king. You know what I'm saying? So Saul was doing whatever he could to have David killed. He couldn't do it in an obvious way, because that would have brought all kind of wrath in Israel. You know what I'm saying? So you have to do that covertly. You know what I mean? We'd have to have it done by somebody else. Like, you know what I mean? You couldn't just blatantly kill David, because people love David. And everybody would have been inquiring who killed David and why. And if they found that Saul killed David, then that would be a problem for Saul. So Saul was trying to create a situation where David was now still a part of his army and would go and constantly to fight against the Philistines, and hopefully in one of those raids, then then the Philistines would kill David, which would be wonderful for Saul. Right? That's what Saul was intending. He said, in either way, he's going to be my son-in-law in twain, whether by Merab or by Michal, one of his daughters. Read on.
Verse 23. And Saul's servants spake those words in the ears of David. And David said, Seemeth it to you a light thing to be a king's son-in-law, seeing that I am a poor man and lightly esteemed? And the servants of Saul told him, sayings on this manner spake David. And Saul said, Thus shall ye say to David, the king desireth not any dowry, but 100 foreskins of the Philistines.
See that? Slick. I don't want a dowry for my daughter because now what's the law in Israel? When they get when they get someone's daughter, you gotta pay a dowry to the father for the daughter. But Saul said, no, I don't want a dowry. All I want are the foreskins of the Philistines. The foreskin of what? How do you get a foreskin of a person? You gotta slay them, and then just like you cut off their actual head, you cut off the foreskin of the private part. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So right now Saul is putting David in a position where he's gonna be in the heat of the battle, where he could be very possibly get killed. Read on.
Verse 25. And Saul said, Thus shall ye say to David, the king desireth not a dowry, but 100 foreskins of the Philistines, to be avenged of the king's enemies. But Saul sought to make David fall by the hand of the Philistines.
Right, that was the intention to have David killed by the Philistines. Read on.
And when his servants told David these words, it pleased David well to be the king's son-in-law, and the days were not expired. Verse 27. Wherefore David arose and went, and his men, and slew the Philistines 200 men. And David brought their foreskins, and they gave them in full tale to the king.
Full tally.
Full tally.
I mean a count. Tally is when they take a count. You know what I mean? Like an inventory. Yeah, that's what that is. So he brought on the required number of foreskins that Saul wanted as a requirement for getting his daughter as instead of the dowry that he would normally pay. That's what that's talking about. Read 27 again.
Verse 27. Wherefore David arose and went
to the battle,
and he and his men, and slew the Philistines 200
and slew of the
men.
Philistines 200 men. Read.
And David brought their foreskins, and they gave them in full tally to the king, that he might be the king's son-in-law. And Saul gave him Michal, his daughter, to wife.
Right. So he got those foreskins for the Philistines, brought them to Saul. Saul had to keep his word because there were witnesses there. Read.
And Saul saw that and knew that the Lord was with David, and that Michal, Saul's daughter, loved him. And Saul was yet the more afraid of David. And Saul became David's enemy continually. Then the princes of the Philistines went forth. And it came to pass, after they went forth, that David behaved himself more wisely than all the servants of Saul, so that his name was much set by.
Right. So we're going to conclude today's lesson right there, chapter 9, chapter 18. Most High willing, we resume chapter 19 next Shabbat. Let me read verse 30 again. Then the princes of the Philistines went forth. And it came to pass, after they went forth, that David behaved himself more wisely than all the servants of Saul, so that his name was much set by. So David, was operated very wisely, and he obeyed the Most High's laws, statutes, and commandments. He knew that he was going to be the successor, but he was very, very respectful of Saul, because he knew that Saul was set up by the Most High to be king of Israel. Understand? And he was very wise on how he would go on his raids against the Philistines. Right? So, go ahead now. No, no. Then the princes of the Philistines went forth. Then the princes of the Philistines went forth. Meaning, so what this is like. Then the princes of the Philistines, and it came to pass after they went forth that David behaved himself more wisely than all the servants of Saul, so that his name was much said by. They went forth. Let me. It's not because there was a lot of war that David fought against the Philistines, and he defeated them. They went. So basically, they went forth. He overcame all the princes of the Philistines. But David didn't get out puffed up over it. Understand that go on one after the other. They fell under the political incursion that he carried against the Philistines. But David still didn't get puffed up. He just behaved himself wisely. Because remember previously, the reason why Saul was upset with David was because what? When the woman started giving David more props than Saul. Or said that Saul killed thousands of the Philistines. David killed 10,000s. Understand? So David was killing all the princes. They were falling on him. They went forth. And they came up with the rulership because they were taken down by David. But David still behaved himself wisely because he realized that Saul was still the king. Understand? And whatever power he had it in the context of Saul's rulership because Saul was still the king of Israel. Kadash?
And I was just going to say, does that mean like they gave him more respect than Saul's other servants? Because if it says that he behaved himself wisely than all of Saul's other servants.
He behaved himself more wisely. Because from the very beginning, they even gave him more respect than they gave Saul.
Right.
Understand? Give him plus remember at one point he was very very close. He was part of Saul's inner circle. Like, you know what I'm saying? But Saul didn't want him around him that much anymore because of his hatred for David. But he still wanted David to fight because he recognizes that he's valiant. Plus, he wanted him to get killed fighting against Philistines. Understand? But David, even with the defeating the Philistines, he knew he was deserving of all the accolades that they were bestowing upon him. Understand? But he don't play it. He don't play it because he didn't want to aggravate Saul.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He kind of stay low key and that. You don't want to aggravate Saul. You know what I'm saying? Whatever props were given him, it was kind of, I'm just he would say, probably humble himself. Yeah, I'm just a servant of Saul, doing the Most High's work for my nation. Speaking and stuff like that. So that's wisdom right there, because he was more deserving of any accolades more than all the servants that were close to Saul. Because he was the one in the heart of the battle, understand, who are defeating all of the princes of the Philistines, who the scripture says went forth. Forth meaning that they came and went. You know what I'm saying? One got defeated, another one came up, got defeated, and so on. Saying
Right.
it's like a domino effect. One came, they went forth, got defeated, another one succeeded them, and so on.
I want to add on to what you're saying for him. Another thing on why he was that he was basically more wise than all of the other servants. If you go back to verse 14, what we can't forget is that the Most High was with David. So That's another reason why he succeeded in everything he was doing. You know, when he went out there, the Most High was with David. You know, it doesn't say that all of the men was with the Most High. But if you look back at 14 itself, it lets you know. It says, and David behaved himself wisely in all his ways, and the Most High was with him. I just wanted to add that on.
Right. Good.
So basically, David, seeing that spirit of jealousy came upon Saul, he didn't want to bring that spirit of jealousy out again by going around walking with his chest up and stuff.
Exactly. Can. That's what that was. Any other question? Okay, we're going to conclude. We're going to say Shabbat Shalom to Yahshua Allah. Everyone logging in, live stream, YouTube. Don't forget, tomorrow, the Most High is willing, we'll have the Hebrew class at 11 a.m. And at 12 noon, we have the Shabbat service. We'll go over the Torah portion. Hashem Washkawashai. We're going to say, Amadi Mwapanya, Yerushalayim, stand and face Jerusalem. Psalm 133. Shayar, Hama Aiwa, Nadawa, Ana, Ma, Tawa, Wama, Naayam, Shabbat, Akyam, Gam, Yakad, Kashaman, Atawa, Ail, Araash, Yarad, Ail, Azakwan, Aran, Shayarad, Ail, Paya, Madawakyawa, Atal, Karamwan, Shayarad, Ail, Ararya, Tazayawan, Paya, Sham, Tazawa, Yahawa, Abaraka, Yawam, Awalam, Bahasham, Amashiyah, Yahusha, the water, Aman.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 133. Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. It is like the precious ointment upon the head that ran down upon the beard, even Aaron's beard, that went down to the skirts of his garments, as the dew of Hermon, and as the dew that descended upon the mountains of Zion. For there the Most High commanded the blessings, even life forevermore. Bahashem Amashiach Yahawashai, the water from Yad, Man.